Good afternoon. My name is Joe VanFonda. I'm the CEO for the Disabled Veterans National Foundation, retired Marine Sergeant Major, and also the host for Operation Mission Possible. We have StableStrides, the Executive Director, PhD. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Colonel, United States Air Force, retired, and she's the Executive Director on her wonderful, beautiful horse. Welcome to Operation Mission Possible. Michelle, tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Good morning. It's almost 4th of July, thus the cowboy hat. This is my buddy Shorty. He belongs to one of our instructors and he's been here for about 10 years, but he's one of our therapy horses. So you are correct. I just retired from the Air Force after 21 years and I thought I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere, sort of. There's sand, but I'm in an equine therapy center where I worked part-time for 20 years while I was active duty. But this just kind of, the opportunity opened to work at a center that needed a little bit of leadership during transition. And I thought, challenge, let's give it a shot. I'm not going to stay on the horse the whole time. I'll get a little bit closer and say hello, but I noticed the last podcast had some Marines, so we just had to outdo them a little bit.
Yeah, Colonel Mayer. Yeah, he was infantry commanding officer, and I actually served under him just a little bit under the Wounded Warrior Regiment. So we have a lot in common. I knew that he would leave the military and do something in a nonprofit world, serving veterans in one fashion or another, and that's what he's doing. And that's what I'm doing as well. So I created Operation Mission Possible podcast to bring on like-minded nonprofit organizations, highlight them, talk a little bit about yourself, your organization. So how long you're in the military for what? 21, 22 years, 25?
21 years.
years. And what made you join the Air Force?
My grandpa flew B-24s in World War II. And as that, the greatest generation never talked about what they did in the war. I saw one photo of him, the youngest on a crew of a B-24, and he was 22 years old, I want to say. But he didn't talk about it. I had to find the photo. One thing he did do, to his credit, is he would sit me on his lap and look at airplane books, and we'd flip the pages, and he'd quiz me. Is that a B-24 or B-25? He forgot or purposely left out the fact that in the 90s, women couldn't fly in combat yet. So he didn't tell me, you can try to fly, but you'll never fly in combat. And by the time I got there, that restriction was lifted. So thank goodness. And when I was 16, he passed away and left me $500. And that $500 was for aviation camp down in Alabama, right next to Space Camp. And I went down there and fell in love with it. It was like a little mini Air Force Academy, won the little Top Gun award, which my now husband also went to that camp a couple years later. He did not win that award. I like to throw that out anytime I can. He's also a pilot. But that just opened the door for me. But, aviation's so expensive that then I had to look at options for where could I go, and the Air Force Academy seemed to make the most sense.
So being in the Air Force took you all around the globe, pretty much.
Oh, all around the world. I taught in Ghana, Tanzania, Afghanistan. I flew reconnaissance missions in the MC-12. And I also flew the C-130 prior to that, but the MC-12 was my last aircraft. And I taught English while I was there too. So I'd fly at night, teach English during the day. And a lot of those little girls I had in Afghanistan are now not allowed to go to school, hiding in tunnels. I can't get in touch with them. But I have to believe that the work we did, teaching,
Absolutely.
singing, music, that it still matters. And, whole place, lots of other places deployed.
Understandable. So where'd you get so you got your heart and desire to fly from your grandfather,
Yep.
right? So you love teaching because I've seen some photos with you with the guitar and so forth, and I know you love humanity and so forth. What made you choose StableStrides?
This has been an accidental love affair since I was a cadet. So back when I was a cadet, I had to borrow a car, drive all the way out here. And it was the first time in several years I had seen this type of work. When I grew up in Detroit, my grandfather worked with the mounted police, and I worked at a horse camp way up north in Michigan, way up north here. And they had horses that troubled youth could work with. And so I saw the power of it very early in the 90s, but I was young, so I was just a ranch hand. And I thought, well, I'll never see that again. When I came out to the academy, I worked with the equestrian team a little, drove out here, and thought, well, I'll never be back in Colorado. Turns out I had 2 more assignments back in Colorado, teaching at the Air Force Academy and then one at NORAD. And every time I would call the phone number for StableStrides, it started off as Acts 19:11, 45 years ago. And it's a verse about doing miracles. And then over the years, it became Pikes Peak Therapeutic Riding Center. So when I came back as a major, that's what they were called. I didn't care what they were called, but they were still there. And so I said, hey, can I come do an internship and get my certifications to teach? And they said, sure. And then the last time I was stationed here, I think I was a lieutenant colonel by then, they had a new name and they were called StableStrides. But again, same mission, 45 years of using horses to significantly improve the lives of people. And I'll show you a few of our programs if you let me dismount. But I want to introduce my my equine manager really quickly while I get off
Okay.
of Shorty.
Lovely.
This is Celeste.
Hello,
Hello, Celeste.
how are you?
Good. How's the heat?
It's kind of toasty out, not as bad today as it's been the last few days around here.
So what are you doing to keep the horses hydrated?
So we give them water in their turnouts all day long, and then at nighttime in their buckets they get salt to promote, drinking water. But they drink. I have no issues with them drinking, which is nice.
I know they don't like the heat.
Yes.
And Celeste has been the equine manager here for
2 years.
2 years.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And her degree in equine science and management,
I have horse training and management.
horse training and management. So she takes care of the actual, the big animals. And I do a lot of the human side of it. But as you were asking over the years, I just slowly got certifications. There's different type certifications to teach. And I'll show you what those different programs are that we do for our military families.
Yeah, wonderful. Love to hear it.
So right now, I'm going to turn and you're going to see Max. Max is sitting on Ranger. Max is one of our military family sons.
What's going on there, Max?
Hi.
How you
How old are
doing?
you?
Good.
How old?
How old are you?
10.
10.
Nice.
10, riding Ranger.
Absolutely.
So what Max is demonstrating is something we do called adaptive riding. And adaptive riding is where we can take any disability you can think of, from wheelchairs. We've had paraplegic to autism to ADHD spectrum. Any type of ability can be healed on a horse. And that means I have adaptive tack, adaptive saddles. Right now you have Carol. She's got 30, 40 years of horse training experience. So she's the leader. If our
Hello,
child,
Carol.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to
and
meet you.
if our child didn't have the capability of holding himself up, he would also have a sidewalker on either side, and they would hold him up. And for
Right.
some of our clients, it's the only time or first time in their entire lives they know what it feels like to walk, because they get the walking motion of a horse. And so for our military family, last time I was stationed here 5 years ago, we had a very robust military program. We have 5 bases here: Peterson, Air Force Academy, Fort Carson, Schriever, Buckley. I'm missing one. And out of all of those families, plus our veterans in the community, we used to take TRICARE and community care. Through COVID, we started losing money on that and stopped taking insurance. Right now, it's only through grants and self-pay, which is unfortunate because our families that need it the most are not able to afford it. We charge $210 for one of our programs for mental health, but this one's $95. And $95 gets you a personal horse trainer, the sidewalker, adaptive tack, and personalized goals. But we know that $95 for families. So we are constantly seeking grants to be able to fill in that hole. But the adaptive riding, I've been doing that as a certified therapeutic riding instructor through PATH International, Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship. And Carol is also working on her certification. She already knows what to do. It's just to get accredited, you have to go through their model and their CEUs. So she's doing all of that. Thank you, Max. What's your favorite thing about Ranger?
He's nice.
He's nice?
Yeah.
And you said he remembers you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you picked him because he said the Ranger remembers him. Hey, Ranger. Ranger's interesting also for some of our military clients. He has an injury, and he was able to overcome that injury. He had a pull in the face. And so we talk a lot about healing and about identity and what that feels like for Ranger to be the only horse around that has a smashed skull.
How many horses do you have?
Well, good question. When I first took over in December, we had 15. But due to a lot of leadership changes, we had to cut the herd in half. And by that, I mean, let them go to their former owners. So we let 7 of them go, and now we are rebuilding. So right now we have 8, and our program is designed to grow to about 12. It's funny though, some of them are miniature horses, which I'll show you. They count for 1.
So how much does it cost to buy a horse to start out?
To
Purchase
buy
it?
a horse is a different question for caretaking. So honestly, to buy a horse, a lot of people do donate them, or they'll buy them for anywhere to 3,000 to 5,000. We try to get them donated. That's just the starting point. That's almost the worst part because then we are
Medical?
gifted an animal, and the animal costs $830 a month forever for the rest of its life to take care of. That's about $10,000 a year. So even when someone drives up and says, I want to give you a horse, I have to say, whoa, wait a minute. I don't know if our budget can take one because we have to care for it. So we look for sponsors. We're always looking for sponsors to corporate, like USAA. We ask them, will you sponsor one horse for 1 year? You get photos up, you get a picture of them, you can come to a picnic. So we look for friendly businesses. That often helps. This is Popeye and Ari.
Nice.
Ari's another one of our military families. She's about to go to college. And where are you going?
Ruehl Institute of Technology.
Nice. Awesome.
Very smart.
Congratulations.
And both of her parents were in the Air Force. How long?
My dad retired after 20 years, and my mom is still in the military.
In your
So
mom's range?
what's your name again?
Ari
Ari, what's your last name?
Sharamonte,
And how old are you?
18.
Okay, so what is it, a mom or dad that's in the military?
They're both in the military, and my dad retired after 20 years.
Okay, so is your mom still in the military?
Yes, she's a
Ah,
colonel in the Air Force.
okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to award you $3,000 as a scholarship.
Really?
Oh,
Thank you.
oh my gosh, thank you.
All right, so
Yeah.
I'm going to need your email address, phone number, home address, mother and father's name, and just make sure all the contact information is lined up, and give it to Michelle. All right, and I'll have a check out to you this week. How's that? All right.
Thank
So that scholarship, you can use it for school, computers, bedding for your dorm if you're going to have a dorm, you know, or whatever the case, whatever you need it for, it's for school. How's that?
Pretty awesome. Thank you. We did not see that one coming.
Congratulations. I wasn't, that wasn't in the script, by the way, so.
No, it was not. And you'll be
But
more impressed.
congratulations on graduating high school, heading to college. I'd love to be part of that. DVNF would love to be part of that. Very proud of you. You seem smart. Go out there and do great things in the world. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Right.
What Ari's demonstrating is our programs. One, we do an internship. And so it's sort of how do we teach up and coming college adults how to run a ranch. So she's out here hours in the heat, learning all the hard things about running a business. But she also helps me out with life coaching. So I'm also a life coach, and what we offer for life coaching for veteran families is because I know firsthand from losing someone I love more than anything in this world who ended up taking his life. Pilots in me of our military are not going to come forward for mental health, and there's not a darn thing I could have done for him. So I started life coaching, and what the life coaching does is it creates a bridge between you don't have to tell your mental health provider. You can come to me. Mental health light. I don't use names. We just use codes. So I work with a couple other organizations that also help us with that, with just coding. And I want any veteran or military member out there that's afraid to go anywhere else. It's okay. You can come to me, and we're gonna work it out with Popeye.
The stigma's still out there, regardless what the military branches state and so forth. So, PTSD
Oh, you
thing,
can.
so you can't escape it, sadly. You can come up and you can create sound bites, marketing sound bites. I mean, the stigma's still going to be there in active duty as well as the veteran population. So, and I don't think there's a one shoe that fits all. But I do believe in equine therapy. I've been on horses. I took wounded warriors to on cattle drives and equine therapy sessions and so forth. And I believe in it. I think they're beautiful animals. I think they're one big doggy. So, and here's the
Oh, I'm
thing,
about
though. I
to
mean, the maintenance on a horse. So what is the cost for the maintenance on a horse for just one horse annually?
So one horse for 1 year, that's the 10,000. That includes their food, their vet bills, and their care. So it's $830 a month for all of them, for all 8 of them. So we are constantly looking for those sponsors because all of them work They all work all the programs, so it's asking a lot. A lot of them are retired police horses, but we're asking them to take on a lot of the pain. I have a couple clients right now, they're actively considering life choices and staying alive, and the horses keep them alive from week to week. So while it's $830 a month, it's really priceless to us.
Absolutely. And that's the food as well, right? That's
That
feed.
includes all food care, hay, farrier, all the things that the horse needs to stay happy and healthy and keep working.
All right. So you've been retired for how many years now?
Not even, has it been a full year? It's been such a whirlwind. My first problem was I'd wake up and instead of a flight suit, like, what do I wear? I don't know what to do with my hands. So I have a uniform again, which is just barn gear and boots. But yeah, this has been my first year of retirement. And I looked at the airlines, I looked at doing a lot of other things, but I think like a lot of veterans, finding mission, finding purpose, finding a reason to put on the new uniform has a value that's different than the dollar amount.
So when did you assume the role of the executive director?
December 22nd, 194 days ago.
So being in the military for almost a lifetime, well, 21 years is a lifetime to me, but is it kind of hard to shake the structural thing, getting up on a certain time, eating when you want, eating during those times, I still like if I don't have lunch before 1, I won't eat lunch, but if I have lunch 1 or after, I just ruin dinner kind of thing. So it's like early morning, lunch, dinner routine, staying busy, being structural, keeping the mind active.
Oh, I still have a full routine. I get up at 5, I go to the gym. I have to get up before my kids get up. We have 2 little ones and we're adopting a third. So staying really healthy at 46 has to be a priority, which means 5 a.m. And then we come out here, lots of structure. I still do the military thing where you don't actually take a lunch and you're shoveling food in between teaching classes and feeding horses. And I tell myself, like, you can slow down a little. I'm not sure I'm quite ready to do that yet. You mentioned how big the horses were and how they were like puppy dogs.
Yeah, they're biggies.
Now I'm going to show you
Oh, look at that.
some minis. So this is Gabe, another one of our family, military family kids. And he's working with the
Are
minis.
these the miniature horses right here?
Yeah,
They are.
We'll go up like this one probably can get up to like here maybe.
Up to your waist.
Yeah. My lower ribs.
Welcome.
Those ones will get to my head.
So this is Cheyenne and Callie.
Okay,
And they actually are a big fan favorite. We take them their therapy, certified therapy, so they can go into nursing homes, schools, churches. The most requested horses that we have, any motivators, but they also do mental health. So another one of our programs is we actually work with a licensed therapist. Hi. And the licensed therapist actually practices their therapy while we have a miniature horse or a big horse. This is different than the life coaching, different from the adaptive riding, different from our internship.
Right.
The full-on mental health is the one that costs quite a bit, and that's $210. And that's where we try to reach most, because that's the most calls that we get. We get people calling just saying, I need therapy. But what's really interesting about it is it's not just the therapist and the horse and the client. There's also an equine specialist, which would be someone like Celeste again, or myself. We're both trained in being that equine specialist. It's required for the training and for insurance that we're there handling the horse. And what that means is not that we're speaking up, we're not interrupting the therapist, but we're interpreting what is the animal doing right now? What's that behavior? How do we advocate for the horse when all that energy is happening? And then we can help say to the therapist, well, they're a little nervous right now. They might be nervous because they're not with their herd. And so we sort of lead with what we're seeing, and then the therapist can use that with the client. So yeah, Celeste, you've been doing that for a while too.
Yeah. About 2 years.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So how long is a session with an individual? How long do the sessions?
So if it's just one person in a session, it's 45 minutes. When we have 2 or more, then it turns into about a full 60-minute session.
60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what about the comfort level? What happens when you have individuals that come in, never been on a horse before? So how do you start them off? With a simple introduction, or so how does it work? when you reach?
So typically we'll start them on the ground. We'll do a lot of introduction with the horse and the human until they feel comfortable enough. Everything is client-led based. So every time, the more and more that a client gets comfortable, the more and more we're working towards getting them on the horse. Sometimes it's just we stand while the horse is tacked and we work our way into that. And sometimes, we're in the last 10 minutes and they're like, okay, I feel comfortable enough to want to get on the horse. So it's all about them and what they want to do and work towards that.
So what's your favorite horse that you have in the barn?
I can't say that.
Come on. Whisper
My
to the
favorite.
camera. Whisper to the
We're
camera.
not
What's your
listening.
favorite horse?
Mine would have to be Popeye.
Popeye. Why
Yes.
Popeye? Is it the
I
personality?
think no, well, yes, mostly his personality. He's pretty calm, pretty lazy. But I think, he just has that old soul to him. And just very calm, collected. He loves to work, and I love working. So to me, it's just we resonate very well together.
And what's the most challenging horse you have?
Oh,
That's almost like a donkey in a way.
mm, which one would that even be? I think
Probably Willie.
Yeah, Willie. He's a nipper, so he'll go up to you and pretend that he's gonna bite you. Sometimes he might. He just has a spunky personality
He's a
behind
pony.
him. Yes.
Trouble.
So he just Trouble's his middle name, but
So
yes.
he wants to be the attention of the arena, right?
Yes.
What's
Absolutely.
so you have your best one you just mentioned, and you have the one that's mischief kind of one.
Yes.
But did you tell me the one that you really love? Is it really Popeye?
It is. Popeye, it's mixed between Popeye and Ranger. They're both up there on the list.
Well, it's been wonderful understanding what role that you play in this setup right here. Now, how many volunteers do you have to help? Do you have a lot of volunteers?
We have about 65 that are still on the roster, but in our high time, when we're really doing well, we have upwards of 300. And they're people
Wow,
who
is
give
that-
up a whole day to come out because some of the programs need 2 sidewalkers and a leader,
Right.
and some programs need less. So it's just a matter of who we keep on an active roster. But without them, we'd have no program.
What about cleaning the barn? Come on now, there's a lot of shoveling going on in that barn, I'm telling you.
Oh, my barn, is that Barry? Just say hello.
Come on,
Our
Barry.
board members, I think Bridget's out there.
Yeah.
Say hello. When you ask about cleaning the barn, we do have Bridget, who's a barn manager, but also our board, one of our board members. The new thing about this board that I brought on since December, whole new board, whole new change in leadership, is that each of them are active and working. So our
That's
board
wonderful.
members come out here, and he's sweeping right now and fixing things. And each of our board members come out and volunteer, which is very different. Some nonprofit boards aren't going to come. I mean, it's July
Right.
3rd. It's actually a holiday. And
Absolutely.
they're all choosing to
Absolutely.
be out here, but also Barry he's a retired police officer, so I'm not surprised that he's out here getting his hands dirty.
Yeah, it was so hard. It wasn't really hard. It's that we had a lot of things that our stars weren't aligning in terms of. I had you in the hopper, just getting you on air, and talking to you and talking about your organization. I was excited to know that you were a veteran and you took over StableStrides. And are you located in Colorado, right?
We're Colorado Springs, but on the very edge. So it's called Elbert, Colorado, but it's basically Colorado Springs. So we serve, like I said, Fort Carson's to the south, Buckley's to the north, Shriver's out to the east, NORAD's close to us, and the Air Force Academy. So all in all, 5 bases. We should be able to fund our veteran programs. There's another
my God.
program about
Are you
an
kidding
hour
me?
and a half up the road. Yeah, how come we're not taking care of our own? There's another one up the road.
Have you reached out to the Semper Fi Fund, Karen Gunther?
That one we have not. I don't think so.
Karen is big on equine therapy. She has a wonderful heart. She's the CEO and founder of the Semper Fi Fund, and I believe that
Okay.
she used to. I'm not sure what role she played, but she participated with the horses on the Air Force Academy section right there. Is that where this is?
No, but I used to work there, so I wonder if we
Right.
crossed paths. I mean, it's a small community.
Probably
So,
years ago. She still runs a nonprofit,
Yeah.
but that's someone to reach out to, and she's very favorable and very
Okay.
wonderful individual. So I'll say that for you as well. But yeah, the heat right now is just how are you guys taking care of these horses in the heat? Are you keeping them cool and wet down or?
Well, the good news about Colorado is we don't have any humidity. If we were in Washington, D.C. today where it's 110, we'd be worried
Yeah.
about them having heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Out here, it's so dry and so hot, but that poses a different threat. An hour south of us right now is the Aspen Acres fire in Pueblo, and they are evacuating. So there's horses on the side of the highway. They're at the county fair. We're really lucky. There was a big fire here a couple years ago. So part of what we do is think about fire mitigation and risk, keeping our trucks
Absolutely.
serviced. So yes, it's hot, but they guzzle down the water and we give it to them quite a bit. And we bring them in, we cool them off, we take them out of the sun. But we just hope and pray for our neighbors that they're okay in fire danger.
Absolutely. It's awful dry too. So it's so how big is your community right now where you're at? You have a pretty big, I know you have a lot of
Well,
military bases around and all that.
yeah, Colorado Springs itself is upwards of 600,000, but with all the transient military that, adds to it. But that's part of the problem is we have families that will come in and they finally connect with us and then they PCS 6 months later. So
Right.
one of the things I've been trying to do is network with a whole bunch of other centers around the whole entire country, one in Michigan, one in Virginia, one in Texas, one in California, to be able to say, hey, I've got a veteran or an active duty person who's PCSing and can they continue their services with you? What I've noticed is a lot of those centers do have fully funded military programs. And I was mentioning, we have one 2 hours away. Their community pays for every veteran that walks through the door, every active duty that walks through the door. It's interesting that here, where we have the highest population, we don't have the same kind of continuous support to take care of our own. So that's part of what I've been trying to do is just tell that story. Hey, we're here. We've been here for 45 years. We're just
Absolutely.
getting to town. Tell your friends. And get the word out that I wish our community could sponsor. So to be able to sponsor one veteran for an 8-week session, it's about $8,000. And so to be able to give them, that's for mental health care. And so
Right.
when we go to corporations, we just say, we'd love to get a general donation, but if you want to actually be assigned to a certain military family or member and sponsor just them, you can build that relationship too.
Absolutely. And as you know, how's fundraising? Tough right now?
Oh man, is it difficult right now? People are worried about gas prices as they should be. And so going to people and asking for a dollar amount is really hard. It's something I had to get used to doing. I've never had to raise money. I got it from the Air Force and we had to spend on silly things at the end of the year to keep our budget. And that's the
Absolutely.
exact opposite. Now we know 100% that the programs we run, the income that they bring in is never going to cover the cost.
Right.
You just can't. Horses are like having boats. They're big and they eat a lot and they get old and they never get cheaper. And so why would anyone go into an equine business in a nonprofit? It doesn't make any sense other than your heart says you have to.
Heart and desire, absolutely, and that equine therapy is a proven proven factor in PTSD. Now I looked at some of your stats you have on your website. You said what's 7 to was it to 1 out of every 7 veterans experience PTSD while in the military. Of course, I agree with that. I definitely.
And people ask, well, how can a horse help? Well, horses themselves are very prone to having post-traumatic stress.
Well, it's either so if you're the scariest person in the room, because you got you got a heavy pack in your back right now, and you put a horse in that same room with you, your pack's not going to feel so heavy, and I believe that because and the horse, as you know, you have to build that relationship with the horse. So it's I think the most important part about the relationship with the horse is building a relationship with the horse, and it starts in the stables. It starts with grooming.
It does. It starts with the grooming. Right now, you'll see that he's licking and chewing and calm, but that, it's been an hour of us calmly being around him, speaking quietly. Ari, who just got the scholarship, bonding and walking with that horse. But I'll tell you a quick story that helps illustrate this. So I had one client who was at Fort Carson, and he came to me. He had some domestic abuse in his background, and he was referred to come work with me.
Right.
And so when he came, he was real tough. And so he said, I don't have an anger problem, but they're making me come. And I said, okay, that's fine. I want you to go get that horse over there. I knew it was going to be a difficult one, and I knew it wasn't going to come near him unless he was calm. So I had an ulterior motive. But he was getting more and more frustrated that this horse just kept backing away from him. And he got to the point where he was mad. He's like, well, what do you want me to do? This is a waste of time and money. And then I looked at him and I just said, what do you want? If you want that horse to come to you, you decide how you need to act, breathe, think, just rethink your choices here. So he calmed down, he took a deep breath. He looked down at the ground. He lowered his shoulders. The horse started walking to him. I could see that he was letting his guard down. The horse finally nuzzled right into his chest. And I saw him take a huge sigh, and he looked at me and he said, I didn't realize I was scaring him. Is this how my wife feels? And I said, that's between, you and your heart and your wife, but it could be that she's feeling that same fear and backing away from you. And if you just let it down a little bit, there might be room to grow that relationship. And then they had this beautiful couples retreat together, and we were able to really work on that. But I'm not sure that you're going to get that exactly the same in traditional talk therapy. Some of it, the horse just teaches you. They're an ancient medicine. There's a reason the Native Americans were so connected with them. They don't lie. They tell you how they're feeling. They stay in herds and tribes because that's the safest place to be. And if they feel that their person is the safest leader, then they'll submit to you willingly. They'll die for you. If they're afraid, like many people are, then they'll back away from you. I don't want anything to do with it. So there's a magic.
What do you think leads up to a service member, veteran, where he's at his breaking point? What do you think leads up to that? And that's the hard part, because we all have a different resiliency line, right? In life, right? We're born, right? We can't choose who we're born to. You either have a mom or a dad, or you don't, broken family, right? The village is no longer raising a family, as you know. And you're at the, you're on, you're in the rut of society trying to survive, right? But then again, you find your outlet and avenue, you somehow make that decision and you join the military. So here you are in the military. And I just gave you a depiction of an individual that came from broken society. Right. So now that individual's starting its career. Now, if it's 5 years, 6 years, even up to 10 to 20, what do you think happens to that individual during a military career in order to get to that breaking point? Is it because that individual does not understand resolve or resiliency to solve problems, and they take that problem, they put it in their pack, and they keep on throwing it on the back burner, and then when complacency starts kicking in, they can start feeling that weight. What's your philosophy on that?
Experience, as I mentioned, my ex and very dear friend of mine, 2 pilots, chose to end their life, and they were not from broken parts of society. They were White House fellows, Top Gun instructors. On that side, look, everything's great. I myself even struggled for a little bit in my 20s. And, these are pilots and officers that do have some, I hate the word privilege, but there was some, there was financial stability, there was education. Those weren't enough. And my PhD dissertation is actually in how to intervene in military communities, intervene for suicide, because I wasn't able to stop those 2. But I do know that as both of them got closer to the end, they were giving signals. One, you can find his YouTube, TEDx, where his talk was on loneliness. And instead of saying, wait a minute, why are you talking about loneliness? We all said, oh, how cool, you had a TED talk and you work in the White House and he worked at the Pentagon with me. Why didn't I stop him and say, wait a minute, why are you talking about loneliness? We missed the big marker. And then the other one, where I won't say his name out of respect for his family, but anyone that knows me would know who this is. For years, he was very depressed and trying to find meaning. And if the Top Gun instructor isn't enough to bring meaning to your life, maybe you need to look other places. But for some people, that's a weight that feels like death, to not be identified. So as much as we can beg people to go get help, unless they want to and choose to, sometimes ending it feels like the only way out. You feel like you're a relief to people around you. And that's the message I try to share is, no, you're not. You think that you're becoming a relief by ending it, but it's only going to then spread to everyone else here who you don't even realize knows and loves you. But it's really a loss of meaning and purpose. And I'll tell you, that Afghanistan thing was a blow. for everybody who was there and promised their interpreter they'd get out, and they're still there. For all the kids, we left them. I was part of the digital Dunkirk, the evacuation. We let a lot of people down, and I think moral injury, we're the next Vietnam era. And we may not bring it up yet, but there's a lot of young folks that are going, wait a minute, 20 years, we lost all these friends and family. What? You know, we're all wearing these bracelets for what?
Absolutely.
Meaning, which is what you're doing. I'm working on. We can help our veterans and military folks feel like they have a new mission and have meaning that to us that it's not the only option. There's other options than in for yourself.
It's really, you know, it's really difficult to diagnose somebody that's going to commit suicide. I mean, we all hear about the slight messages being left by that individual, and of course, you know, just like you there, Colonel, I've been in the military for a long time, an old man as well, you know, and there's always that knee-jerk reaction in the military when it comes to suicide. You know, training stops, put everybody in the theater, you know, PowerPoint presentation, bring on your specialists or whatever. Leadership, just keep an eye out on your individuals. That should be a daily trait in terms of just taking care of your troops and just keeping an eye out on it. Understanding your Marines or service members, whether it be airmen, Navy, and so forth. But you have to know your individuals, right? Even if you know your individuals, you just can't save them, and that's the hard part. You know, it's that's the reason why I talk about resiliency. You know, I've had sergeants majors, friends of mine that I've stomped the same dirt that served overseas with and all that, and you know, they killed themselves. So, and you know, it's just, you wonder, you know, when you have somebody close to you like that, you know, you served with, is your glass half empty or is your glass half full? Right? Why am I still here? And my sergeants majors took their life for some reason or whatever. What was the indicators? You know, you start looking, you know, peeling the onion back on that, and then you start looking at your own resiliency. Now, have you felt that way when you had pilots, you know, friends and so forth that took their life in that arena? Did you feel that same?
I guess I'm glass half empty. I mean, it's been a blow. I'm in therapy myself, and I'm okay to say that. Because I couldn't save them. But I will say, you know, my husband now is he's a veteran as well, and he's the type that built a tribe, did notice, gave me a lot of stability and resiliency, and has been able to walk me through these losses. And that's what it's going to take is each of us, the blows are hard, but having a tribe that can walk through with you. I also work with another group here that does some alternative medicines and all veterans. And we get together in the woods, and I'm a facilitator, and we walk people through their darkest nightmares. And we're there holding their hand through the whole thing. And it's more of that. It's more of telling a tribe what you really feel, not being afraid to say the hard, ugly things, and knowing that your tribe's going to say there's nothing scary that you can bring up that we're not going to walk through with you. But that culture has taken, gosh, 21 years for me to be able to find that veteran culture where you can really lay it out. And Colorado allows a lot of those alternative practices that I wish we could get more across the country, but if it saves lives, geez, give it a try. But it's people like you doing podcasts like this to be able to hear veteran voices and remember those that we've lost and keep bringing up this topic. We don't run away from it. We just keep digging away to find the answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and here's the thing though, I'm not saying that you're in a saturated nonprofit swimming pool of equine therapy, and I've been through a few, and I look at the individual. You know, who's running this organization? What's the heart desire? What's the experience level in terms of heart desire? Not technical, because if you have leadership, you have the heart desire, you can pretty much learn anything. And that's just the way it is. You know that, Colonel, being in the military and all that. You know, just the way it is in the military, you're given a task, you master it, you move on, you know, and so forth and so forth. So I think that with you taking over the reins, no pun intended, right? And I think your personality, you know, your heart and desire, I think that, and here's the thing, it's networking. That's the beauty of it. If you can continue the network, and here's the thing now. Okay, so here you are on the OMP podcast. I'm going to award you $20,000 today. All right. And I'm going to have that mailed out to you in the beginning of the week. All right. So we'll have that out to you.
Oh my gosh. Give me a second. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now here, I also want the young girl's name. Make sure you give me information. A little
Ari Chiaramonte. I can send it to you.
absolute small little bio, and I'll get that checked out to her, and her home address and all that, and her mother and father's info, because I want to make sure that they're okay with this.
Oh, they will. I know her parents.
Well, I definitely know you can use the money.
Thank you. It all goes to our clients. We don't profit. When I say nonprofit,
We're nonprofit.
we are a nonprofit. So thank you. That keeps programs alive. That keeps hopefully our veteran and military families, gives them hope. Thank you.
All right, so this is what I'll do. So we'll get 3,000 for the young lady for her scholarship to go to college, military family, right? We're gonna go 22 on you, $22,000. How's that?
Thank you.
All right, $22,000. All right. And and I just want to hear good news stories. And here's the thing though, Michelle, this money is unrestricted. You're the executive director. Run your organization the way you feel you need to run it. Put it to where it needs to go. Period.
You get it. You know how it works.
Absolutely. Do you know how many big box nonprofit organizations that younger, new, or refurbished nonprofit organizations they hope that they can get a relationship with? They want that grant, whatever, and then you finally get to the door and they shut the door on you because you haven't been around long enough or your audience isn't as big, right? So that's the hard part. But that's the reason why I created the Operation Mission Possible podcast. Is what I'm going to bring like-minded nonprofit organizations are out there. I want to know who they are, learn their heart, and I want to fund them. So they go out there and take that funding and that heart desire and go out there and do great things. And I believe that you're going to do it. There's no doubt.
Oh, we will. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
you.
Most of our staff haven't taken a paycheck in months. I haven't taken anything. We just wanted, during the hard times, during the cost of fuel, during the COVID, as those grants were drying up, we wanted to make sure the doors stayed open, and we weren't sure about 6 months ago. And we're alive and well. We're doing okay. But I need to be able to keep operations going. And thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, I want to make it 25,000. So we're going to go 25K for StableStrides because I know
Where are these funders? Where are you finding these angels that are donating to you?
you can talk to my donors right now by saying thank you. I don't have a lot of corporate sponsors. I have individual donors, just like me and you, that care about our programs, which we have a Veterans Food Assistance program that you can utilize. You have veterans that come to your organization, they need food. You can tap into DVNF. Grants provide stability. We pay mortgages, rents because sometimes two ends don't meet. We gotta, and then we have homeless to housing where we try to get them in a house. And when they get in a house, they're coming from Section 8 or the first apartment because they fell by wayside. We give them a $2,000 grant where they can buy a bed or a TV or dishes and so forth, right? And then we have our comfort kits where we send comfort kits all around the country to our disabled and at-risk veterans that we want to keep them clean and healthy. So that's what our comfort kits are for. And then we have the podcast. Right? So we have Mission Possible program online, Mind, Body, and Spirit with Dr. Marty Rosin, a wonderful individual. Talks about resilience. He talks about why do we hold on to things we can't control. We are mental guarding and so forth. So check that out. You can utilize that for free for your veterans, first responders. It's free for them. So that's a whole course. They get an app. They get their downloadables and just a wonderful thing. So it's called Force Multiplying. You probably heard that before, Colonel, right?
Force multiplier.
And that's what we're becoming. So we just became a team. We just became.
Oh, I love that.
Right, so that's what it's about. So if I can help you in the future, tricks of the trade, maybe I may have some, maybe I may not. I probably have a few in this a little while. That we
Oh
can
my gosh, thank you.
teach you or show you or give you my experiences in the nonprofit world in this big environment. We're a national nonprofit, so we're all over the country with our programs. And I know that networking is key and trust is key, right? So if you pull somebody,
Oh.
introducing somebody, it's all about that trust, right? Like-minded individuals that have the same drive to serve, our individuals in need. So I'm hoping that the
So,
$25,000, I want you to utilize that to keep it going until you get the next relationship, all right? Because you need
oh
to
my gosh.
take care of your
Thank you
individuals,
so
take care of your
much.
horses, right? And the young lady scholarship, I definitely want to do that for her. That's a different note. I just
Oh,
felt,
she's gonna.
and
Smiling from ear to ear, and I would be remiss if I didn't. You talked about network, so first, thank you to all the people who donate. Now, of course, I'm going to go home and tell my husband we have to, we have to donate to this organization. But I do want to mention two other positive in Colorado. I'm on the board of something called Mount Carmel Veteran Service Network. Mount Carmel, if you hear that name come through, one work they do job transition and they refer to us, so we partner, we work together. And the other is my dad's on the board in Michigan, the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund out of Detroit. They are personally, I've watched them save lives, even calling me, going, what do I do? Can I set them up with some horses? Do you know anybody? But it's those relationships that I learned from. So I was watching two other nonprofits operate and how they really were mission driven. And it was never about the fundraising. Of course, you need the funds to operate. But if you have the right leader with the right vision and the right passion, that's where I learned it. So bless you. Well, thank you
so,
so much. This is the best 4th of July we've ever had.
Yes.
happy 4th of July. So it's hot out there too. So, and here's something that man, it's tough out there, Michelle. In equine therapy, it's tough out there because in Colorado, it could be an all-around year kind of thing, depending on the weather, of course.
Yes.
We do
I know,
0
I know
degrees and 100 degrees.
you probably watched the last podcast with Colonel Mayer and old Bo Smith, two rugged cowboys.
Yeah.
Bo is in North Carolina, has a beautiful ranch, and then Colonel Mayer is in Texas. And this is what I may want to get you on a podcast with both of those two individuals and just talk shop a little bit. They're a little bit more rustic than what you're doing, but they still have a lot of therapeutic qualities to how they're doing it. They're just doing it with a man's grip voice. I'm not saying that what you're doing doesn't have that man's grip or whatever, but they're a little bit, you're out there in the rustic, you're sweating, you're cattle driving, your
Oh,
team.
I will fly out there if they'll let me. I'll join them.
We need to get you out there, get you on a horse with them and get you going. But that's what it's all about. It's called networking. And when you deal with like-minded nonprofits, right? Like I'll introduce you to Colonel Marin Bo. I'm sorry, Mo. I think that will open up another door, not only for them, for you, because you're just, you're creating a relationship. And wherever that relationship may go, you never know. But you have to create those relationships. And I'll do that again with some other individuals I think would be great to introduce you to and so forth.
Thank you.
And here's
Thank
something too. You
you.
need to think about the big dog ranch down there in Florida. And I know they got one out west
Big
of
dog?
it as well. The big dog ranch, because here's the thing though, right? They save a lot of dogs and rescue dogs throughout the country and they refurbish them and take good care of them and they find them homes.
Aw.
They also do veteran programs where they're actually boarding the dogs for them when they're deploying or going somewhere, as well as training service animals for them as well. The big dog ranch, wonderful. I think that you and them would have a lovely conversation about possibly partnerships because you got a big dog.
We have big dogs. They're basically big dogs.
You
I
got big
happen to have
dogs.
a Great Pyrenees, but the mini horses I have are smaller than my Great Pyrenees. That I would love that. We love animal work. We believe animals can bring therapy. I mean, I've heard of chickens. I'm not sure about that one, but any animal that can bring peace to your heart, dogs and horses just have kind of a special leg up on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm happy with, I'm just happy for you. I'm glad that you're taking over a second chapter in your life outside the military and you're leading with your heart and all that. You got a lot of hard work ahead of you, that, and then, as you know, the nonprofit, a lot of red tape and things of that nature in terms of therapy. But what's important is what you're doing right now, showing the impact, being real, being who you are, and I think that's important as well, is putting yourself out there because you're representing StableStrides, and now you're actually the face of the organization, right? So you're
Yeah.
leading by heart and desire and so
And
forth.
plus.
If a donor or a corporate sponsor or partnership would want to contact you to donate or communicate, where would they go?
StableStrides.org, so all one word, StableStrides.org. And when you get to that page, you'll see a donate. You'll see you can email us at connect@StableStrides.org. So if you connect at StableStrides.org, you'll get myself, and you'll get Celeste, and you'll get Amy, who also runs some of our programs. So I would say check out the website, but also you can email us directly. If you write to connect@StableStrides.org, one of us are going to write back to you.
All right. And what do you want to say to my donors that are watching? And they can go to your website and donate as well, because remember,
You can, oh, I didn't even think of that. See, I have things to learn. The ask, you're always supposed to do the ask. If you would go to StableStrides.org, you'll see that we have a couple summer camps coming up for military kids, first responder kids. That's second 2 weeks of July. So $350 sends a kid to camp, or you can sponsor a veteran. And if you sponsor a veteran through an 8-week program, you can meet them if you want to, or it could be completely anonymous. But we also have a whole community. We've got kids with adaptive riding. I mean, you name it. But you can sponsor a horse if you want to sponsor. We have 2 new starters just coming in, Maverick and Rosie, and they might need a sponsor. But really, it's to say thank you, whoever you are out there, because your heart felt called to give. Now look at all these lives that are going to change. It's not us. It's the clients who come through, and every week or every month. I don't even know how to do these podcasts. You're just changing the world a little bit at a time. Thank you.
A little bit at a time. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I'll tell you what, we have another 10 minutes left. Tell me something tell me the lowest part in your life, and then tell me the highest. How about that?
Ooh, the lowest. I'll definitely, we talked a little bit about the loss and the suicide, and that's just going to always haunt me. In addition to that being a very low, pulling out of Afghanistan the way that we did. But the other low lately has been, we've been trying to adopt a little girl from Honduras for about 3.5 years. And we have everything. We've gone to visit her. We have all the paperwork, and it's just been delayed and delayed and delayed. And so we haven't been able to bring her to the United States. So the big, heavy stuff is never going to leave my heart. And that's why I'm never going to stop working on intervening in veteran suicide. But what that does mean is that I can focus on who's still here. What can we do with the lives that are still here? And so my husband and I are a little bit older.
So your high and lows related pretty much, right?
They are in the high. The real high is going to be the day we get to go get her. And if I can just send you an email when I'm in Honduras and say we finally have Luciana Sophia.
Absolutely.
And I'm holding my little girl in my arms. And I'll tell you, the day that we heard that we were going to get her was the day I had heard about one of the suicides. So on the very day we lost the life, we were given another. And isn't that the way that God works?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there, but you're doing it. I tell you what, I'm hoping that you and your organization, your family, have a wonderful, wonderful 4th of July. And I've been blessed to be the CEO for DVNF for a little while here, and I have great board of directors that trust in me and how I run DVNF, and I have wonderful staff members. So I always want to thank my staff members. Definitely want to thank our donors. Our donors trust in our programs and our services. So that's what you need to highlight. You need to highlight your program, your services, and the impact, those personal stories, those one-on-ones. That's the relationship that you want to build with your donors. And that's what I've been trying to do for DVNF for the longest time. And that's the reason why I have you on the podcast, is because like-minded nonprofit organizations need to empower each other. And I'm hoping that this helps you a little bit further down the road. I'm hoping we can build a big relationship as we move forward.
Well, thank you. Celeste is going to go say goodbye to Popeye one last time. You said we could start and end on a horse. So happy birthday, America. Thank you to you and your listeners, and God bless you.
Michelle, you're doing a wonderful job. Keep up the motivational work. This is Joe VanFonda, CEO for DVNF, Operation Mission Possible host, retired Marine. Have a wonderful weekend.